So I tried to tell you, I tried to warn you that Sony announcing a Kickstarter on stage at E3 was just the beginning. They gave you the option of doing their research and development for them, and they were met with the sound of applause. You see, if you donate money on Kickstarter, let's say that you donated to Shenmue 3, you realize that not all of your money is going to develop Shenmue 3. About only 60 to 70% of that dollar is actually going to develop the game. Another percentage is going to marketing, another is going to the people who's running the campaign, who's updating it. Another is going to all those items they are giving away. You'd think that, if you're paying thousands of dollars, all those goodies are just free. No, somebody's paying for them. You're paying for them. And then another chunk of the change goes to Kickstarter to actually run the site. So why should Sony use Kickstarter when they could just build their own crowdfunding site? Which is exactly what they're going to be doing now. So if you want to see Sony develop a product, then they feel that you should be willing to throw down money for the research and development of that product. Sony has announced their own crowdfunding site called First Flight, and currently they have hardware that consumers can go chip in to get produced. And Sony's CEO says that he thinks that this could be a big business one day, in a few years. He said it'll start off small though, like video games and financial services did. Now, Sony claims that this is a great way for them to gauge interest. But you see, for decades now, really since modern marketing began back in the 50s, corporations up until this point have paid researchers to perform and find out what people want. They would have things called focus groups. I've even been a member of some of these focus groups. And so they go out, they, give you ideas, they show you different items, and then they take that information and go and decide what products the companies should create and how many they think they're going to actually sell. So investors and companies would put up the money for those ideas, which is called risk. I mean, it's risky investing in anything. It may fail, it may succeed. Good ideas succeed, bad ideas fail. So it was a risk for Sony to bring you the Sony Walkman, or the world's first CD player, or camcorders and TVs, or the PlayStation. And those were all good risks. They were all good investments because it brought them billions of dollars in return and has made them into a multi-billion-dollar company, one who can afford lavish office buildings and who has the funds in order to pay dozens of their executives, even today, salaries that range well beyond $1 million a year. How many years do you have to work to ever earn $1 million? Now, if you wanted to be part of that success, like for Sony or any other company, you have that opportunity. You may not work there, but you can still invest in those ideas if you think a company is putting out products or delivering services that are going to be successful. Companies offer shares that you can invest in and buy. And then if they make money with your money, then a lot of them will write you a check, dividends. So if I make a wise investment in a company, the company makes a wise investment with their money, then we both get rewarded. But now, with crowdfunding, Sony is just wanting you to front the marketing and the risk for research and development. They're marketing this idea to you as a way for you to get to decide which products actually come to the market, because apparently they're lost and don't know what the customers want anymore. And maybe that's why their company has been given a bond rating of junk. And by the way, if your bond rating is junk like Sony's is, then that means that they have to pay more in interest for money that they borrow from creditors. So it costs Sony more money to borrow for these ideas, which maybe that's why you can understand now why they want you to do it for them. But if Sony doesn't even know what the market wants anymore, why should you be the ones fronting the risk. And if they aren't willing to invest in their own products, does it really make sense for you to bankroll the company that can't decide which products it actually wants to make? If something crashes and burns, I mean, it's not their money on the line. No investor is going to get upset by somebody's bad decision. And to me, it just looks really shady for a billion-dollar company to start asking the consumers, who, by the way, are already paying for research and development on products. You're already paying for shipping and marketing because the cost is built into the product and passed on to you. And now they're just asking for just a little bit more. And I really can't believe how many people complain about corporate greed. They complain about these shady corporations, yet they're applauding and ready to go throw down sometimes thousands of dollars in order to get a goodie package and a product made. And that just feels wrong. If you really think that this helps gauge interest in products, why not just set one tier at $1 and see how many backers you have who'd pitch in $1? Instead of offering up all these different tiers where you can donate literally thousands of dollars for a product. And if this product is successful, do you get to share in that success? Are they going to give you some of the proceeds and profits back? Which is what normally happens with investors. And see, the other thing that's kind of shady about this, I think, is that Sony is distancing themselves from this. They're not putting their names on these products. So the products, like the site's up right now, this crowdfunding site, and it's starting in Japan, but you can probably be assured that it's going to launch and roll out to other areas and offer more products. But if you buy these products right now, they don't have a big Sony logo on it. They said they wanted to distance themselves, which is another way of saying that, well, if a lot of people knew that a billion-dollar company was behind this, then they may not be so willing to throw their hard-earned money at it. To me, it's like throwing glitter on a turd and trying to put it in wrapping paper. I mean, people complain about pre-ordering all the time, about how we pre-order and put money down for these products that whenever they release, they're not fit for release. They're broken. And yet, now you think it's going to be even better if we're throwing down money for a product that's not even made yet. Now, I've got no problems with Kickstarters. I've got no problems with people coming up with great ideas and products, but don't have a billion-dollar company behind it with executives who are making millions of dollars a year to help fund it. Lots of great ideas have taken off thanks to crowdfunding, but a lot of ideas have also crashed and burned. And so this just feels like a big corporation coming in to poison the well. Also, on a separate story, Sony shares plunged yesterday after the CEO announced that they were selling off bonds and shares for the first time since the 1980s in order to generate extra money so that they would have money to reinvest in their products. So for all intensive purposes, you look at what's going on with the news, you look at what's going on with Sony. I mean, it doesn't sound like a company that a hardworking individual would want to invest in. And I, for one, won't be investing in a company that doesn't have a clear vision of what it wants or what it wants to produce. Because that's their only freaking job. That is their job. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. You want to read more about it? Links down in the description box. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn.